Lisa D., one of your co-hosts here on District Life. We're here to share some stories from the D.C. metropolitan area.
And I'm Larry Brown Jr. It's such a pleasure to host this uplifting show where we highlight those who are doing great things, working to help build a better community in the D.C. area, and specifically those who are not ordinarily in the spotlight. But on this show, we highlight them.
Recently, I caught up with activist and musician Ayanna Gregory, who is following in the footsteps of her father, the famous human rights activist and comedian Dick Gregory. She tells us how she's committed to leaving the world better than she found it.
Also, when was the last time you went for a spin around the skating rink? We'll hear how a group of men use skating to address mental health issues. That's definitely a different approach.
We've packed even more in this half-hour show. Later, if you're a fan of ramen noodles, this DC food blogger can tell you about the umamiest bowl of broth. Monet Brady, who is the author of the Picky Ramen Lover blog, is a ramen fanatic and making a food guide for fellow ramen lovers in the DC and surrounding areas. To start things off, we're taking you to the Martin Luther King Jr. Library on G Street, where our team caught up with the staff there to learn more about the programs they offer for people with disabilities.
Yes, this is an issue that I think many people are recognizing. It's something we should pay more attention to, and if you haven't had a chance to see the new major renovations at the MLK Library, this is a little sneak peek into what it looks like now.
The Center for Accessibility is our department here at the Central Library for DC Public Library, and it is our space where our residents, DC residents who are disabled, can come and learn, they can play, they can also check out different resources and different technologies that they need. And it's also just a welcoming space. I've been with the library 9 years. And it's really been beautiful to see it transform, particularly for the Center for Accessibility. We have broader walkways, broader pathways in the building, to accessible signage throughout the building. We didn't have very good capabilities for accessible performances. Now we have upgraded technology throughout the building, and we also have loop systems in multiple places within the building.
There is a large population of people with disabilities all over the world and in DC as well. And we welcome everyone into the library system. The Center for Accessibility exists to ensure that all library services and programs are accessible to everyone and that everyone is included and able to involve themselves in everything that we do. We provide reasonable accommodations to the public. So if we're hosting a public event or a class or a program, if someone needs a sign language interpreter, for example, we can provide that to them. So our ASL classes are pretty well attended, both by staff and by the community actually. And part of that reason is because people are recognizing that their neighbors may be deaf or hard of hearing, someone in their class at school may be, and they want to be able to fully communicate with them. And they know that the library provides these classes for free.
Each library here in the district and across the country has traditionally a friends group. Our friends group is made up of primarily persons with disabilities, blindness, deaf, and other disabilities. Our essential dynamic is to provide an outlet for people who are disabled, the senior community, those who really use the Center for Accessibility here at the Martin Luther King Library and across the district, to give them a place to talk about what resources they want, what they're looking for, what the center is bringing to the table, and what we can continue to do to bring people out. Just be active, stay engaged, stay connected to your community, and I look forward to seeing you at the library.
Well, I just learned some valuable things. A lot of times we may overlook them, but libraries play such an important role in society, and it's not only the right thing to do to offer proper accommodations, it's actually the law under the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Coming up next, Lisa's interview with Ayanna Gregory, an artist and former Howard University student activist who is using music to make a change in her community.
I feel like her heartbeat is like same speed as mine. And I think we have this like deep connection, this heart connection in her heart, that there's room for me and mom. When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer. It's a sensory thing. It's a thing with Asperger's.
She's really good with Anya. I've seen adults react to my daughter when she has meltdowns, like she's from a different planet. And this little animal just sat next to my child and was just like, you know, it's gonna be cool. She's my superhero.
Good job, kitty cat.
When we adopted Lucky, we discovered all the wonderful things that make her unique.
Lucky's a little bit of a lot of things, but mostly she's pure love.
When I never graduated from high school, I realized I wanted to go back to school because I didn't want to work these back-breaking jobs the rest of my life. With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed to come back to school. I felt accomplished, made me feel that I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back. The late Dick Gregory was not only known for his comedy, but also for his political and social activism.
That's right. And this week, I was fortunate to interview his daughter, Ayanna Gregory, over Zoom. I learned that she's following in his footsteps as an activist, and she's using music to express herself. Hello, Ayanna. Welcome to District Life. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Lisa. It is a pleasure. I'm happy to be here.
Great. Okay, so you have created some amazing works of art, and you say it's important for you that you use your art to heal and inspire. So what is your inspiration to want to do that for others, and why do you feel that that's important?
Wow. My inspiration comes from the legacy of my parents. My father, the late Dick Gregory, who the world knew as a powerful civil rights and human rights activist and comedian and health guru, among other things, and my mother, who I call a living, walking, breathing, unsung hero, who also sacrificed much of her adult life for the cause of human rights and civil rights. So I think it started there, those seeds planted very early. And, you know, my father used to always say that part of our purpose on the planet was to leave our environment better than we found it. And so that I knew at that point, just with the teachings of him and my mother and so much of the heavy hitters that we were surrounded with during the movement, that I had a responsibility, that art for art's sake was really irresponsible, but that art had a purpose, and that purpose was to create life and to build and to heal and to nourish and to nurture. And so that has always been my commitment, to use my work to do just that.
That is awesome. And so you're also a motivational speaker. And so when did you realize your voice would be the gift to the freedom movement or fight for justice? When did you realize that?
Well, it's funny, you know, growing up as Dick Gregory's children, we had microphones in front of us since we were very little. So, you know, I can remember speaking publicly probably the first time, maybe 7. I was scared to death.
Oh my
But
goodness.
I think honestly, yeah, I mean, he started us out real early.
Yeah.
But I would say probably by the time I got to Howard University in 1990, and for anybody who was around at Howard at that time, you'll remember that it was like a renaissance of the 60s. I mean, student activism has always been powerful at Howard, but in the early 90s, it literally felt like that same 60s passion and feel around being, being proud to be who we were and making a difference and understanding that young people were at the forefront of change in the world. And so I think, it's funny because as a singer, my roots started out, behind a bullhorn. So oftentimes I would be the musical voice called on here in Washington, D.C. for all of the various movements, the anti-war movements and the police brutality movements and things like that, and some of the spiritual movements and other social justice movements. It just kind of went around quickly. Everybody understood that being Dick Gregory's daughter, that I was going to be a part of these movements somehow. But when they realized I could sing, it just became a natural fit for me, I would say, at the beginning of Howard. Yeah.
So in 2003, you released your first solo project, Beautiful Flower. Can you tell me about that?
Absolutely. It was a time that I was just coming into my own. And at the same time, I was working with young people. And so I was pouring my heart out for my own healing. And then also I think I was also trying to fill a void that I saw in what was missing with our young people, because so often I felt like they were left to fend for themselves to find inspiring music that resonated with them. And so I would try my music out on them and, take all of my experiences, the ups and the downs, the tough moments with them, all of that was poured into that. So songs like Warriors Rise and Beautiful Flower were really inspired by the youth that I was working with.
Oh, that is incredible. Now, if someone would like to know more about you and your projects, how can they find out more information?
They could go to my website, which is ayanagregory.com. That's AYANNA Gregory.com. They could visit me on Facebook, Instagram, and it's just my name, Ayana Gregory. I'm pretty easy to find. You can find some things on me on YouTube as well. You can check out some of my music. And then, my music is available on pretty much all of the platforms. So I'm pretty easy to find.
That is awesome. Well, Miss Ayana Gregory, thank you so much for joining us, and keep up the incredible work. We really admire what you're doing, and I'm sure that your parents are proud of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sis.
Thank you. Wow, that was so amazing. I love that tribute to her father. Very touching.
It was. The legacy of Dick Gregory is still alive and well through his daughter.
Absolutely, as it should be. She's doing amazing work.
The current state of the world can be hard to cope with. So a group of Washingtonians decided that when life gives you lemons, go roller skating. This group goes to the Anacostia Roller Skating Pavilion to hold events that will be safe for families and give individuals who are going through difficulties a chance to gain tools to help manage the ups and downs of life, all while rolling on some eights.
The Link Up DC came from a place where, one, we wanted to, get the skates that's available in the rink open, because we wanted to have something for the kids to do. And then the second thing was creating a space where people felt comfortable to come down to, enjoy themselves. The mental health aspect is big in skating. What are some of the things that we can equip the younger community with through skating? So this way, when they leave the skating ring, they can go back to the community, go back to their families, go back to their homes, and be able to deal with these circumstances a lot better.
And there's been nothing but love and great vibes. So just thinking about, people have their doubts of coming to Southeast DC, coming to Anacostia, but those are the people that live in fear, but once they come out here and they see the love and they see the energy and they see that it's not about that, and it's about, the culture, about family, about teaching, about, about just spreading all that love, then, that's when they'll feel it, and then they'll start to pour more into this park and more into what we're trying to do.
Everybody skates for a particular reason. Everybody doesn't have their, their same reason for skating, whether it's their, stay stress-free, whether it's to come exercise, whether it's, whether you just want to come and have a good time, you just good vibes, So that's one of the key things. Like, I just want people, I honestly just want the kids to stay out the street. That's my main goal. I just want them to stay out the street, stay out of trouble.
The future for the Link Up DC is the youth. That's the most important part. And what we want to do is just be able to create an environment where everybody feels safe, everyone feels loved.
There's a lot of people that sit on the side that bring their family. It's also an amazing vibe just to watch these young and older, generations just go out there and just float, float like water. And it's dope. And it's right there, it's just like an experience that, that you have to see it in person to feel it.
Wow, roller skating, what a great stress relief.
I am ready to take my entire family out and go join them.
Okay, well, I'm going to join y'all. Let's go roll on some eights.
On some eights we go.
All right.
Okay.
2020 was a very turbulent year for the entire world. Along with people adjusting to the new normal of living through a pandemic, we also saw a change in how we view our government and policing methods.
In response to the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and others at the hands of police, protesters occupied the streets of D.C. in the summer of 2020. The D.C. Public Works Department painted the words Black Lives Matter in 35-foot-tall yellow capital letters with an accompanying D.C. flag on 16th Street Northwest on the north side of Lafayette Square, part of President's Park near the White House. On the same date, Mayor Muriel Bowser announced that part of the street had officially been renamed to Black Lives Matter Plaza, posted with a street sign. The plaza is currently undergoing maintenance to make the installation more permanent with lighting and landscaping. Now, have you ever wondered what you'd do if you were president for a day? On this edition of Where in the District, DCTV's Carmen Stanley has a few ideas.
We're here today on the National Mall, and we have
Abby.
All right, Abby. And the question is, if you were president for one day only, what would you do?
I'd make healthcare universal.
Ooh, and why?
So that everybody could go see a doctor.
My kind of woman. High five.
I would just let America know how much we have in common and that we're united as one, regardless of what our ideologies are, whatever our beliefs are, that we have one common cause, and that's peace and harmony and all the other stuff that goes along with that. Regardless that we're a family, we're a unit, and we should be united.
I would make toll roads free. Yeah.
Those are very expensive.
Yes. Yes, I don't have a toll sticker because I'm poor.
Do whatever I could to shrink the size of the federal administration stuff. Yes. Yeah, there you go.
I have no idea what that means.
We could start with the Department of Education.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Okay, what I think I would do is I would try to get the nation pointed back to God, and that our founding fathers, as broken as they were and mistaken in a lot of areas, they still wanted us to be united as a nation.
I would declare a mandate on kindness toward each other. That's what we need, more kindness and more compassion, because we're all one big family.
Mm-hmm.
Peace up.
Peace. Thanks, Ed.
Wow, that was great. Sounds like there's one common theme. We all want peace and harmony.
Let's start manifesting some unity and peace.
I agree. Coming up, while the COVID-19 pandemic has been a stressful time for all of us, there were also silver linings, how 2 DMV residents gave back to their communities.
Meet the scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
When I was in college, people ate those ramen packets to save money, but ramen is considered a great delicacy these days. If you don't know it, it's a Japanese noodle soup with Chinese-style wheat noodles made with a meat, fish, or even sometimes a vegan broth and a myriad of toppings mixed in.
Oh, you make it sound so delicious. There are so many kinds of ramen that a local food blogger has dedicated her platform to trying each and every ramen spot in the DMV. DCTV's Rebecca Burnett sat down with the blogger to enjoy a bowl.
This is Monet, or the Picky Ramen Lover, on Instagram and TikTok. This Marylander has dedicated her food blogging solely to trying new ramen dishes while building a ramen guide featuring her favorites along the way. Today we're slurping on soy sauce-based shoyu ramen from Uzu, one of the spots on Monet's list.
So let's talk about ramen. Okay. How on earth did you get into this, and why did you decide to only focus on ramen?
I loved it. It was, you grow up, you have those little orange packets. Well, my mom actually didn't let me have those, so I would sneak them and have them, like the Maruchan, at my friend's house. And I was like, oh, these are so fancy, and noodles and stuff. And then I went to Dakaya down in DC for the first time, and I was completely hooked with the traditional style of ramen. And I was like, well, I just want to go to all of them in the area. And I didn't know that there was over like 60 in this area, not even counting Baltimore. So.
Wow. Are you worried you're going to get tired of ramen?
No, because there's so many different ramens. There's so many. And a lot of the shops around here they have their main menu, but they'll put out like a new special ramen every week. And so there's always new flavors, there's cold ramen, there's dipping ramen. So it's kind of hard to get bored of, and it's give you that kind of comfy home feeling. Yeah. In the middle of the summer, I'm still craving ramen.
And I'm sure that you meet a lot of interesting people.
Yes.
How often do you get to talk to like the chefs that are creating the ramen or the staff?
If it's a smaller location that maybe only has one spot or two, I'll talk to the chefs there or through Instagram, and I'll reach out. One shop that was up in Maryland, they were super helpful last year when I was doing a Thanksgiving ramen with my turkey bones. He was like, what do you need? Do you need toppings? Do you need noodles? Do you need this? I can show you this. They're so willing to help.
I need to know more about this Thanksgiving ramen.
So I wanted to do something special. So after Thanksgiving, I just took all the bones out of the turkey, boiled them down, and then I used the noodles that was given to me by this ramen shop. So they made my broth, made my toppings. So it was like turkey, and I was really excited to do it, and so much help from the different owners and chefs and stuff in the area. So that was pretty awesome.
And over the summer, or I guess over just the year of the pandemic, when hate against Asian American Pacific Islanders was kind of on the rise, did picking ramen spots or eating ramen a lot and being in these places, were you able to have a lot of good conversations or maybe spread the word about it on your own platform?
Yeah, I did put it on my platform. Just me being a Black woman in this Asian space here, I kind of didn't want to insert myself, but I wanted to be like, hey, I'm with you. This is my food, our culture. We're culturally together. I'm willing to just spread this message for you. I made sure to go to the shops, especially the family-owned ones in the area, and make sure I boost it out. They have this week, or they're doing this special, and especially if they were doing carry out. I remember in the beginning of the pandemic, I would make a list like, this person's doing carry out, they're doing it this day, and when everybody was switching over to carry out. So I try to use my platform to help out all of the local businesses that do ramen shops.
What do you want people to know about, when they're having ramen? What do you want people to know about the art of it or the culture of it or the history behind it?
Experience it and be in the moment. Make sure you're kind of tasting it with all of your senses. You're sipping the broth, you're smelling it, you're feeling it. You have to slurp it up to get all the the taste and the sounds. It's a whole experience. It's a whole meal. I always start my ramen by taking a sip, and that first sip just gets me into the mood. I'm like, okay, I'm here to eat my ramen, and I just dig in. So yeah, just experience it pretty much.
Okay, I clearly know what I'm going to eat this weekend.
Some ramen, I take it.
Absolutely.
So listen, throw the table manners out the window. Slurping is approved for the noodles and the broth.
Okay.
Okay?
All
and
right.
that's what helps you enjoy the umami of it all.
The umami. Where'd that come from? Is it so good that you just go, ooh, mommy?
We can live with that if you want to.
Okay. For over 10 years, Monica Green noticed one common thing among her middle school students. On their first day of 6th grade, they were full of energy and excitement.
But by the last day of their 8th grade year, they were burned out and unmotivated. So she decided to open up her own public charter school during the height of the pandemic. Here's how she's changing the trajectory of middle school students at Capitol Village Public Charter School.
Opening up in a pandemic was not what anybody could have planned or forecasted, but we've seen such great success even opening in the pandemic, and it's amazing to just see kids in this space, in the building, to see teachers moving and educating our students. So we're just excited to see, you know, something that was a plan and a thought and an idea come to fruition.
Most parents, we stick to the schools that we know. This school's here, this school's there, da-da-da-da. But being this convenient, being here, right across from our home, right around the corner, the same neighborhood, it doesn't get any better than that. And to have the stellar performance that I have to have with my daughter is awesome.
My last school, from my point of view, they allowed bullying, because I was bullied from 1st to 5th grade. And nobody really did anything. In my old school, there was fights everywhere. In this school, they don't allow that. They don't tolerate fights, and we know how to represent ourselves here.
She's always made to feel like she's counted, she's seen, she's heard. Everyone hears her voice, no matter what the situation is. And as a parent, that is the most awesome thing you could ask for when your child is not with you, that they are constantly in a safe environment with safe adults and people who are there to help and make sure that it will never go any other way than the way it should.
Where do warm currents want to go?
Ooh, you better go ahead.
We are an intentionally small school, so we will, once we hit our max enrollment, we'll have less than 200 students.
Show me, yep, yeah girl, show me.
Especially in middle school where they're kind of transitioning in that awkward phase of life and they're trying to figure out themselves. It gives them the chance to really build relationships with their teachers and to feel open to be able to ask questions and to make sure that they can get the support that they need.
Can I get a fist bump?
Yes.
Thank you. Well, one thing about our curriculum is that it is definitely rigorous. It's, you know, Common Core standards, college, you know, ready material. But we also try to make it very relevant. So we want to pair those Common Core standards with real world issues.
Last year we did ocean pollution, fish depletion. Our solution was to fish less and only use certain items to fish.
And we're looking at, like, what are some things that have worked for them in the past as far as in their education? What are some strengths? What are some areas of growth? What are some interests and ambitions, so that we can use every opportunity to really tailor the educational experience to that student's needs. And so we're very flexible in the way their day might look. Every student's schedule is almost individually created, just to make sure that they're getting a customized individual experience.
I love the intentionality about the foundational concepts of the school.
And smaller classrooms means more attention to individual students. She's on to something good there.
I agree. As we take a break to celebrate the holidays with our families, we hope you enjoyed the season with yours. We'll be back with more episodes early next year.
And if you know someone or something that we should cover in some capacity, don't be shy. Give us a shout out on social media. We will be back with new shows after the new year. We'll see you then.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Now listen, I'm gonna make you some ramen or give you at least a gift card so you can go get you some good ramen.
All right.
And that'll be my treat to you for Christmas.
All
For the
right.
holidays.
Oh, I love it. Well, I'm gonna make it at home as well. So once you start giving me some of the recipes, I will make it at home, and then maybe my significant other go, ooh, mommy.